Hi, I'm Peter Rossi. I first want to say I'm really sorry that I can't be there. I'm sure it's going to be a great time. There's no place I'd rather be than with you tonight, but unfortunately I had to teach most of Saturday and couldn't make it there in time. But I do want everyone to know, in particular Steve, that I have adopted Hoka attire. I've got my shorts on, I got my flip flops. I've been doing a little bit of ganja. I got some Jamesons, so I'm all ready. Just want to share a few things. Just some thoughts. I was thinking about Steve's work, and I understand that Hoke and Ha is one of the most cited Steve papers. So let's think about Hoke and Ha. I think it's kind of the bottom line there is that people are kind of dime store Bayesians, right? So after you have a lot of information, you don't update much. But if you don't have much information, you might be persuaded by small cues. So let's apply this to Steve, right? So if you know Steve really well, like many of us do, you know that he's really wickedly smart and he's only got the best intentions. On the other hand, if you don't know Steve well, you might look at the flip-flops, you might check out the earring, you might listen to those kind of incomplete sentences that don't make too much sense until they put them all together, and you might conclude, Hoke is a joke. But Steve is no joke. Steve literally has saved my life, at least my professional life. Without Steve, I probably would be a terminal associate professor of econometrics at Carbondale or something like that. So Steve basically gave me a chance to join the marketing group at Chicago, and I got through. They actually voted me through in spite of Steve's support. I mean, as we all know, Steve's support has not always been a blessing in matters of personnel. Dominic's and Steve. So many of you don't know about this, but Steve, very early on after getting tenure, sort of took a hold of this Dominic's project, which is kind of a completely unwieldy mammoth project involving 26 different categories, 20 plus major CPG manufacturers who are sponsors. Steve just took the bull by the horns and designed these price experiments, the shelf managed experiments, got them implemented in the field, got the results analyzed, pleased all the sponsors, wrote a couple of papers, and all without asking an assistant professor to lift a finger. While he was there working late at night, we were off in bars or asleep or whatever. And Steve never put any pressure on us. He just gave us the resources if we wanted to do it, but it was up to us. So I really appreciate that approach, and I actually benefited tremendously from the project. Finally, I just think, what is Steve's approach to life? It's basically full bore, right? If you look at his gardens, they keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger, more and more elaborate, more and more labor intensive, from Oak Brook to Gladwin to Carmel Valley. I think about the time that he dug up all of his perennials in Oak Brook and stuck them in the back of a U-Haul to haul them to Gladwin. I can imagine what those snooty people there thought. A wine. Steve's a real wino, right? We all know that. But Steve's approach to wine is just like his approach to life in general, right? Which is, it's full bore, right? So never ever leave any sediment in the bottom of a wine bottle, because Steve's going to say, pour that damn shit out. I want to drink this muck in there. It's got alcohol, it's got wine, so I want it. So that's Steve. Institution building, we all know that Steve has really killed himself to build groups at both Chicago and Wharton very successfully. That's kind of a thankless task. But I think he kind of views it as somewhat satisfying, like home remodeling, that you actually see the lasting, benefits from your work. So finally, what is retiring? I think it's really what he's doing here is retiring from MBA teaching. And I would liken that a bit to retiring from prostitution. I'm sure the clients have fond memories, but you're probably glad to move on. Retiring from your colleagues and intellectual pursuits is something you should never do. So please keep us all part of your life. Life would lose a lot of its color without you in it. So Steve, have a wonderful retirement.